Welcome back, class 12, to the online bio classes. Since we had already completed chapter 4 in our previous class, today we have to start with the 5th chapter. Hope you have already completed some of the exercises or the question answers of chapter 4. Now today in chapter 5, that is principles of inheritance and variation, in which we have to study about genetics part. Means we have already started the second unit, that is genetics and evolution according to your syllabus. And the first chapter is principles of inheritance and variation. The second chapter is molecular basis of inheritance, whereas the third chapter is based on evolution. So first we will start with the syllabus only. Heredity and variation, two terms are there. What is heredity? That definition you need to learn. Already I had discussed in the interactive classes. Heredity is defined as the transmission of characters from parents to their offsprings. Like we say, like begets like, means a human baby will appear like a human being, baby of a cat will appear like a cat. So all the characters of that organism, that is the plant or the animal, is inherited or passed to their children or the babies, okay, or to their offsprings, we say, the word which we use here in genetics. And what is variation? So heredity, what is the definition I said? Heredity is the transfer of characters. What type of characters? Hereditary characters means those characters which are present in the genes and which are passed on from one generation to the other. Like the transmission of height in the offspring, because the parents were tall, maybe the child is also tall or he is short in height. That particular character or the genes for height has been transferred to next generation. Similarly, color, intelligence and many more characters like earlobes or maybe the shape of the face is very much similar like parents, because some of the babies, their face is similar to their parents or to their mother or father, it resembles, isn't it? So why is it so? It is because of inheritance of those characters, which is done by the genes or the chromosomes which are present in their cells. Now next word is variation. Variation means differences among the individuals of a species. You may have found that although the parents has 2-3 children and all the children or the babies do not resemble each other. So why it is so? Or all the human beings belong to the same species, that is Homo sapiens. Still differences are found among them. All are not equal in all respects. Some of them may be intelligent, others may not be so much intelligent. Some of them may be fair in color, others may be dark in color. So different type of color, shape, size of human beings are there. Why is it so? Why those differences? Those differences are called variations. Variations among the individuals of a species, that is the correct definition, is called variation. Differences among the individuals of a species. Okay, now according to your syllabus, the next one is explanation of terms heredity and variation. Already we have done. And the next word is Mendel's principle of inheritance. You know that Gregor John Mendel is known as the father of genetics, and he studied about the principles of inheritance on a plant, pea plant, which is called Pisum sativum. And he was very much successful in his experiment, but during his lifetime, his work was not like whatever experiments he had done with the pea plant, that was not known to the world, because whatever he wrote in the journal, and it was not published, it was a local journal, so hardly few people came to know about his experiments. And his work was far more advanced than the scientists of that time. So that's why he was not credited with his work during his lifetime. After his death, the 3 scientists, Semach, Correns, they individually carried out experiments on heredity, and what they found, the result was similar to that of Mendel. So they had given the credit of their discovery to Mendel, and that's why Mendel is called the father of genetics. Now why Mendel was successful? The next is Mendel's principle of inheritance. So you know that Mendel gave 3 laws of inheritance, Mendel's first law of inheritance is known as law of dominance, which states that out of a pair of contrasting character, like this one, capital T, small t, two contrasting characters are there. These two are alleles of the same gene, that is height. The character is height. So this is one gene has two alternative forms, which is called alleles. So this capital T is for tallness, small t is for dwarfness. Now out of this contrasting character, contrasting means if one is black, the other is white. If one is tall, the other one will be short or dwarf. So here, out of a pair of contrasting characters in F1 hybrid, only one is able to express itself. The character which is expressed is called dominant. The one which is not expressed is called recessive. I will show you here. Like this is the parents. The parents, this one is a tall. Suppose this is the pea plant which is tall, homozygous tall. And this is the mother pea plant which is heterozygous tall. Okay? Now they will produce the gametes. So gametes are similar because homozygous, so they will produce the same type of gametes, capital T, and this one will also produce the same gametes, small t, small t. Okay? Now look here. We call them as parents. Okay? This one, if you take it as male, this is the symbol of male, and this one if you take the female, like this is a male plant, this is a female plant. Okay? And this is the genotype of their height, that is capital T, capital T. The male plant is homozygous tall, the female plant is also homozygous dwarf. Got it? Means a tall plant is crossed with this cross sign means crossing, hybridization, experiment is done, okay? In which the male pollens are deposited on the stigma of the female plant. So during this experiment you will find that the gametes which are produced is similar, like homozygous, all capital T, small t, small t. Same like their parents. Now in the F1 hybrid, that is the first filial generation, which is produced by crossing the gametes of the parents. Like if I take the first gamete and cross it with the first gamete of the female parent, it will be capital T, small t. So likewise, all four I will get like first gamete crossed with the second gamete of the female, capital T, small t. Same like that only. Second gamete crossed with the first gamete of the female, capital T, small t. Second gamete of the male crossed with the second gamete of the female, capital T, small t. So what do you find? That the result is same. All the four plants which are produced in the first generation, F1 generation, they are tall. But what type of tall? Homozygous or heterozygous? Because one is capital T, the other is small t, such type of tallness is called heterozygous tall, not homozygous tall. Homozygous tall means this one. Okay, homozygous dwarf means this one. Okay. Now next, there are some terms which are related with genetics that you have already studied in class 10. Like what is the meaning of back cross? Back cross means when we cross the F1 hybrid, that is capital T, small t is crossed with any of the parents. Like if I cross it with capital T, this is also called back cross. Then if I take the F1 hybrid and cross it with a female parent, both of them are called back cross. The definition is back cross is a cross in which F1 hybrid is crossed with either of the two parents. Now what is the meaning of test cross? Test cross means when F1 hybrid is crossed only with the recessive parent. Recessive parent is the female one, that is a small t, small t. So this one is called test cross. Got it? What is back cross? What is test cross? One more word is there, that is called reciprocal cross. Reciprocal means if I have taken this one as male, capital T, and small t as female. Now if I will interchange the parents, now instead of this one being the male, I will make this one as the female and this one as the male. So such type of cross in which the male and the female are interchanged is called reciprocal cross. Got it? So those who are not present in the interactive classes, make sure you attend the interactive classes, because we don't have to continue or give the summary of this chapter again and again. Already we had started in the interactive classes and finished some of the topics also. Almost half away we have gone. So I just give a summary and go fast. Then next we studied was reasons for Mendel's success. Why Mendel was successful? I have highlighted some points. Mendel was successful in his experiment because he had selected garden pea plant for his experiment. Garden pea plant is unisexual, means it has either male or female, and he kept records of all those experiments which he had done by writing them, and he used mathematics, that is statistics, for the first time in the experiments of biology. And that's why scientists of his time were confused, or they thought that how it is possible that mathematics can be used in the application of biology or for biological uses. So that's why they didn't give much importance to his work, which was later on identified to be true genius work. Okay. The next one is, he was fortunate that the characters which he took in the pea plant, they were what we say that he did not show the characters which he chose, like tallness or the color of the flower or the position of the flower. They didn't show any type of linkage or incomplete dominance or gene interaction. His experiment had a large sampling size, and the pea plants are, since they are herbivores, so annual plants, within few months they complete their life cycle. Means within 3 to 4 months or 5 months, the pea plant can be grown from the seed to they can bear the fruits also. Within a short time you can get the result, and that's why he chose pea plant for his experiment. And he took 1 or 2 characters or traits at a time. Like if he was taking the height, only height, or if height and shape of the pod, then height and shape of the pod, 2 characters. So 1 or 2 characters he selected for his experiment at a time. So this gave the result, perfect result for his experiments. Any more points? Yeah, he took care that while doing his experiments, no foreign pollination. Foreign pollination means, like if he had selected a pea plant, he was making sure that pollens from the other pea plants were not being deposited on the stigma of those plants. Otherwise, it will interfere with his results, because he wanted the result that may not be possible because of deposition of foreign pollens on that pea plant on which he was doing the experiment. Okay, now next year, according to syllabus is back cross and test cross. Already I said definition to be taught with simple examples. So simple example also I give. What is Punnett square? Okay, now same this experiment or hybridization experiment, it can be the formation of gametes can be shown with the help of a Punnett square. Punnett is the name of the scientist who had shown the formation of gametes in the form of a box. Okay, like here we take the male gamete on the top. So male gametes are capital T. We take this one is the male. Here downside we take the female gametes, and the female gametes are small t. This checker box is known as Punnett square because it was discovered by Reginald Punnett, and that's why it is named after him, the scientist who discovered this. So how we write the gametes? We just take both the gametes like capital T, small t, and fill up these boxes. Similarly, capital T and this is small t, capital T, small t, means in all the 4 boxes we will get similar gametes. That is, these 4 F1 hybrids are being shown here in this box. Understood? So Punnett square help us to find out, or it show the formation of gametes and the formation of F1 hybrid or F2 hybrid when we cross the gametes or when we join the gametes of 2 different parents. Okay. Now next we have to do is, what was the technique which Mendel used? I will just highlight the word emasculation. The word emasculation means, suppose a pea plant is there and anther is there. Removal of anther from the plant. Why anther is removed? So that the pollens of the same plant will not get deposited on the stigma of that plant. Means self-pollination will be avoided. That process is called emasculation. And the bagging means, bagging is a technique in which the stigma of a plant is covered with a plastic or polythene bag. Why? So that the self-pollination will not be allowed, and whenever the person will need, like we need to deposit the pollens, we can remove the bag and deposit the pollens, sprinkle the pollens according to our wish, to make the experiment successful, according to our desire, whatever characters we want. Okay, then next one is about Mendel's law. Already I said that law of dominance. Now next, some terms are there which already have studied in lower classes also, like what is monohybrid cross, what is dihybrid cross, what is homozygous, heterozygous, and what are the three different laws like trihybrid cross, reciprocal cross. Already I said. Now I'll just highlight the word monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross is such a cross in which a single character is taken at a time. Like here what we have done, in this experiment we have taken only the height of the plant, only one character. So such a cross in which only one character is taken at a time is called mono, means single. If two characters we are taking, suppose we are taking a pea plant which is tall and that has a round shape of the seed, two characters I told. Tall plant with round seed. So tall I can write like this, round seed, capital R, and the other plant we are taking it as dwarf plant with wrinkled seed, small r. So since two characters are considered, such a type of cross is called dihybrid cross. Got it? Monohybrid, dihybrid, differences between them. Okay, now let's go to the syllabus. Definitions to be taught. Already I said Punnett square, incomplete dominance. Okay, so I will just go to the next topic, that is incomplete dominance. Okay, so one second law of Mendel I didn't say. The second law of Mendel is, first law is law of dominance. Second law is known as law of segregation or law of purity of gametes. Now what is the meaning of that law of segregation? Law of segregation means, suppose in a individual or in a, like capital T, small t, both alleles are present together. You can see here, capital T stands for tallness, small t for dwarfness. Both the alleles remains together in a hybrid. Hybrid means, suppose this one is the individual which is produced by crossing the two plants. So in this hybrid, both the alleles for tallness as well as dwarfness are present, and they are not intermixing with each other. At the time of gamete formation, when gametes are to be formed, both of them will separate. See, capital T is separate, small t is separate. So law of segregation states that, or law of purity of gametes, purity means although both the gametes are present together, they do not mix with or they do not blend with each other without any blending. It doesn't mean that tall and dwarf will mix to form a medium height of the plant. No, they will remain or separate either as capital T or small t, either for tallness or for dwarfness, they will get separated. So definition says, when a pair of alleles are brought together in the F1 hybrid, they remain together in the, both the alleles or allelomorphs we say, they remain together in the hybrid, and at the time of gamete formation, they separate without any blending. So understood? It's very simple. You can make your own and write. Law of purity of gamete states that the two alleles of F1 hybrid remain together without mixing or blending with each other, and at the time of gamete formation they separate from each other. That is called the law of purity of gametes, or law of segregation means separation. Okay, so what segregation means? They will separate from each other, both the different alleles of different characters. Now next is what are the limitations to the law of segregation? The law of segregation is only for diploid organisms, means organisms which has two X chromosomes. For haploid organisms it is not applicable. Okay, because they cannot form the haploid gametes. Diploid organisms, like we are also diploid, we have two sets of chromosomes in our body cells. So when we form the gametes, the sperm cell or the egg cell, they are haploid. Okay. Now next one is law of independent assortment. This law is only for dihybrid cross, and according to this law, when Mendel crossed two different plants, suppose what was the characters he took? He took round and yellow seeds. Round, capital R, yellow, capital Y. Round and yellow seeds was crossed with, if round is there, the second one will be wrinkled. So a small r we have to take, and it was green. So this is yellow, round and yellow, round and yellow seeds. It was wrinkled and green, crossed with wrinkled and green seeds. Okay? Round and yellow seeds crossed with wrinkled and green, small y aldehyde. Okay? So what he found that when two pairs of independent alleles, two pairs are there, one pair, two pairs of independent alleles are brought together in the hybrid, that is in the F1, they show independent dominant effect. Means this one will have separate effect, this one will have separate effect. Okay, on that F1 hybrid. In the formation of gametes, the law of segregation will operate, but the factors assort themselves independently. Means when the gametes will be formed, I will show you how the gametes are formed. When the gametes are formed, now it is independent whether capital R will choose to go with small y or capital Y. Like capital R can go with capital Y also, capital R can go with small y also. So law of independent assortment states that when two pairs of, this is one pair, two pairs of independent alleles are brought together in the F1 hybrid, they show dominant effect, independent dominant effect. Means both of them are showing their own dominancy or dominant power. And in the formation of gamete, they will separate or they will choose randomly. That is law of independent assortment. Assortment means like independently I am giving this person this 1, 2, 3, X, Y, Z. So now it is independent. Just one example I am giving. This one you can go with X or you can go with Y. You are independent. Or you can combine with Z. Similarly, number 2 can make a pair with X or Y or Z. Independent. Got it? Understood? So law of independent assortment, the third law of Mendel, states that when two pairs of alleles, one pair, two pair, are present together in F1 hybrid, so I'll just write also capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. This one is F1 hybrid. So two pairs of alleles are there. Okay? Now, during the formation of gamete, it is independent. How the gametes are formed, that also I will show you. Whenever you have to study in higher classes also, how to form the gametes. First you write the gametes which are there, like capital R is there and small r is there. First you take capital R and capital R, small r. And then the first gamete which is formed is capital R, capital Y. Means here you can take capital Y, small y. Here also you can take capital Y, small y. Now let's see what are the gametes formed. Capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y. The next one is small r, capital Y, small r, small y. These are the four gametes which are formed. See how I have done, how the formation of gametes, you should learn it, okay? Because maybe here only two pairs are there, maybe 3 pair, 4 pair, 5 pair is also there in higher classes, not now. But you should know the technique. Like first you select these two. First one pair you keep it here as two different headings, and then the second pair you just distribute them equally. Now combine them, capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. This is how the gamete formation occurs. Okay? For dihybrid cross, when you make the unit square, you need to learn how to make these gametes. So understood this law of independent assortment also. Now the next one is in your syllabus, incomplete dominance. Okay? So I was about to say incomplete dominance only when we went on this. Okay? Now what is the meaning of incomplete dominance? I will just say the definition. Law of incomplete dominance states that, like if a plant is tall, if a plant is dwarf, only tall and dwarf we are taking. Let's change the character this time, and this time we can take as red and yellow. Red, a plant with the red flower is crossed with a plant with yellow flower. This is red flower. This one is, sorry, not yellow, white flower. In incomplete, they are the parents. Then their gametes will be there, same gametes, capital R, capital R. Here also same gametes, small r, small r. In the F1 hybrid, capital R, small r, all of them will have same, capital R, small r, capital R, small r, capital R, small r. Means all of them have the same genetic constitution, capital R, small r, same. Now, what type of color they will show? They will show pink color. Neither the red color, neither the white color of the parents are shown in F1 hybrid. This is called incomplete dominance. So, if you have to define, you can write the definition also. Incomplete dominance means the characters are not following, or you can say in the F1 hybrid, neither of the characters of the parents are dominant. Okay, incompletely, like neither the red color is fully there, in pink somewhat ready there, neither the white color is fully dominant. So that type of, it is against, or you can say is not following the law of dominance of Mendel's. Okay, because Mendel's first law was out of a pair of contrasting character, only one, this is contrasting character, only one express, the other will not express. The one which express is called dominant character, the one which will not express is called recessive character. But here we find that both the characters express themselves, or they are not able to express fully, incompletely they are expressed. So that's why it is called law of incomplete dominance, not full dominance. Got it? Example is already given of mirabilis. Yeah, in your syllabus, example is of snapdragon. Already we have done. And then codominance. Codominance means, the example of codominance is blood group. We had already done that human blood group is determined by a gene called I, which is found in three different forms. That is I, capital A, I, capital B, and small I. These three different alleles are there. So that's why it is also called multiple allelism. So if a person has I, A and small I, the blood group is A. If a person has I, B and small I, the blood group is B. Because this IA is dominant over small I. These two are dominant alleles and this one is recessive allele. What is we had already done in the interactive class. Still I have said so that you can understand. And what is the meaning of codominance? Codominance means in which both of them, both the alleles are equally expressed. Co means both. Dominant means both of them are expressed. Red is also expressed, white is also expressed. For example, one example of codominance is there. That is ABO blood system. In ABO blood system, you know that a person who has blood group AB. So what is his genetic constitution? Genetic constitution will be, I'll rub it. The person with blood group AB will have this type of constitution, that is IA, this allele, and IB. Such person will have a blood group AB. It means here both the alleles are dominant. Both of them are expressive. They can express their character. So such a character is called codominance. Means both the alleles are dominant at a time. Got it? So codominance example you can give. ABO blood type is example of codominance. Okay? So today up to here only in the interactive classes we can continue with chromosomal theory of inheritance. Rest all already we have done. We have also done the complementary genes, interaction of genes. Those who have already attended, they know about it very well. Multiple alleles also we have done. So we'll try to complete. I will say you whether what is the timing for that interactive class. So after watching the video, what you have to do, like and comment. You can write your names. Okay, thank you.